So today we're going to solve complex equations. Our learning target for today is I can solve equations with proportions and squares, or something to the power of 2. So I can solve equations with proportions and when you see a variable squared. So you're going to put your pencils down, and I just want you to discuss with your team in the warm-up. How would you solve the following equations? Ready, set, go. Discuss with your team. What do we think? Someone want to raise their hand and tell me, what do they think? What did you guys talk about? You don't have to solve anything yet. Our pencils should be down. What do you think? How do you solve these types of equations? Any ideas? I heard some things. Please stop. Thank you. What do you think?
Maybe something with reciprocals?
Reciprocals? Did anyone say reciprocals, maybe? What did we say in our teams? What did we say? What do you think, Lydia? What did you say?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not sure? We all said I don't know? What do you think, boss? Cross multiply. Yeah, we are going to cross multiply. Don't overthink it. What are the following equations called? Listen, we're writing. They're called proportions. When you have two fractions, set equal to each other, you cross multiply. That's what you're writing in the blanks there. When you have two fractions set equal to each other, you cross multiply to find the solution. Number 1, we've got 4 over x equals 7 over 15, and we are going to cross multiply. So 15 times 4 and x times 7. Or you can write 7x, x times 7. We're cross multiplying there. We're going to get 60 equals 7x. Does 7 go into 60 evenly? Really nice? No. So you can already predict here that our answer is going to have a decimal, and that's okay. When we are doing problems today, I want you to round to the nearest 100th. Round to the nearest 100th for our notes for today. So in your team, I want you to discuss right now, how should you round your answer? Discuss with your team. Go. I got 8.57. Is that what you guys got? Give me a thumbs up if your team got 8.57. Great. That should be your final answer. Round it to the nearest 100th. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we've got a proportion equation, and this time we've got an expression in the top of the fraction. We've got an expression up here. That expression is stuck together in the top of that fraction. So when we cross multiply, we're going to have to add in parentheses. So let's cross multiply. 8 times 10. Not so bad. 3 times x plus 5, and I have to multiply each thing by 3. So to remind myself, I'm going to use parentheses there, and we'll distribute and solve. Let's see if your team can solve this. Go ahead and your team, finish it off. You solve it with your team, please.
That was a low point.
These first are the same.
Check out the board. Do you agree? Did you get 21.67 for number 2? Do your teams agree? We're not moving on yet.
C.
We agree? Questions on number 1 or number 2? Go ahead and do number 3 in your teams, and we'll come back. Number 3 in your teams, go. Let's discuss number 3. Bring it back. Number 3, we're going to cross multiply. You will need some parentheses. After you cross multiply, that's the equation you should have gotten. Can anyone tell me what their answer was? X equals negative 10.6. Give me a thumbs up if your team agrees. Negative 10.6. Fantastic.
Okay.
Any questions on the first 3 examples? We kind of saw a problem like this in the homework yesterday, so let's all look at this together, please. Okay? Because we had a lot of questions about what happens when I have something squared. Let's first think about the inverse of multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication, Josh?
Division.
Division? Great, let's write that in.
Atta boy.
Division. What's the inverse or the opposite of addition? Aaliyah?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. So when we are dealing with something squared, what do we do? What is the opposite of y squared? Anthony.
Square root.
Yeah, we're going to take the square root. That's what you're going to write here. The square root of each side. The symbol looks like this. It's called a square root. We're going to square root each side of this equation. My question for you is, what's the square root of 144? Yes?
12.
12. Y equals 12. Because 12 times 12 equals 144. Is there another solution? I want you to turn and talk with your team. Is there another solution?
No.
There is one more solution. Your calculator's not going to give you both solutions, okay? When I square root something, I am thinking about what times what equals my answer. If you recall, a negative times a negative is a positive. So there is a second solution. It's negative 12. Okay, so when you square roots, you're going to get a positive answer and a negative answer. Your calculator will only show you the positive one. Okay, something to remember when you're taking your test next Thursday. Questions? Go ahead and do 4, 5, and 6 with your team. Ready, set, go. 4, 5, and 6.
Why is that?
Don't forget the negatives. The answer would be 10 and negative 10. For number 5, z would be 15 and negative 15. For number 6, you cross multiply, right? And you end up getting the equation we had before. So your answer should be 12 and negative 12.
Will it make a difference on the test if you only write one?
We did 7?
I didn't even see that one.
You didn't even see that one. It's fine. I didn't ask you to do it. We can look at it together. 7 is just, again, a cross multiplication problem. Please don't forget to put parentheses once you cross multiply. So this is 3 times 2x minus 1 and 5 times 16. If you haven't finished this problem yet, finish it with your team. Remember to round your answer to the nearest 100th. Finish that with your team. Ready, set, go. That's it for today. That's it. Now we can work on our homework. You should be able to get that done. Your homework is numbers 1 through 8 today. So you're in 1.4. The homework, number 1 through 8. I'm going to come around and check your work completion for 1.3 while you're working. I'm going to come check 1.3 homework.